Hello, people. Welcome back to Awakes Network. Disturbing security trends in Anambra and Southeast Zone. Before we go to the details of this news, hit on the red subscription button and the notification bell icon to keep abreast with latest happening coming up from the political scene, because we'll be making uploads. So stay tuned. Now the news in full. There is a disturbing trend in Anambra State. It is such that it portrays a possible collapse in the marriage between the state and the herdsmen. When the union was active, it ensured that uprisings between herdsmen and host communities were contained to the barest minimum. It was part of the indices that authenticated the claim of the state is one of the safest in the country. But the last couple of months appear not to be looking promising in the relationship. Sound beats from both camps are a clear indication that all may not be well after all. The disturbing signals bear the potential of a state that may erupt into full clashes between the Fulani herdsmen and their hosts if something urgent is not done to address it. Residents woke up on February 1st this year to the news that 4 Fulani herdsmen and several cows have been killed in Ifite, Ogwari, in Ayamelu local government area of the state. Southeast chairman of Miyetti Allah, Cattle Breeder Association of Nigeria, Gidado Sediki, who made the disclosure, stated that this occurred between December 20, 2019 and January 27, 2020, insisting there was a need for justice as a way of compensating his members and their families. Sedike had given the name of the header allegedly killed in December 2019 as Hassan Mobali, who is said to be 25 years old, and those killed this year as Hassan Rabiu, who is also 25 years old, Abdullahi Rahman, who is 21, and Mabahabu Ilu, who is said to be 38 years old. He stated that the association had recovered Rabiu's body, while youth in the area allegedly prevented the recovery of Abdullahi and Ilu's corpses, which were purportedly thrown into Omobala River. He said his association had written Governor Willie Obiano and Commissioner of Police John Abang, among others, for intervention and call on the authorities to bring the perpetrators to book to serve as deterrents. He was said to have observed that his association was not pressing for compensation, which could amount to about 37.5 million naira, as agreed with a committee set up with the state government if the attack was a mistake, but that the alleged killing of 4 herdsmen could not be described as a mistake. An investigation by the Guardian revealed that the alleged killing might have been caused by the destruction of cultivated farmlands in the area by suspected Fulani herdsmen. Sources stated that several cultivated farmland had been destroyed by the herders in the past, and the attempt to get the government to address the situation had been futile. A source stated that he was convinced that if there be any killing or attack in the first place, it must have come from those whose farmland were destroyed and not from the entire community, apparently in a bid to protect their farms from herders. In an attempt to unravel circumstances behind the alleged killings, the police in Anambra State had on February 17 arrested and detained Deputy President General of Ifitogwari Community, Chief Nnia Allah, and the town's Chief Security Officer, Chief Michael Akamala. The police said they were being held following the death of 3 herdsmen, adding that while the body of one of those killed was recovered, the others were not found. He stated that the community leaders would remain in detention while the investigation continued into the matter. It was gathered that the community leaders were arrested shortly after they held a meeting with Governor Willie Obiano, who was said to be worried about the increasing level of insecurity in the area. Narrating their ordeal, Nnia Allah said, "We were in a meeting to assess the damage done on our farms by the herders when the divisional police officer for our area called me and demanded to see us. When we went, he took us to many places and ended up at a mortuary at Atani, but we did not see any dead body. Since then, we have been in detention without knowing what our offenses was." He further stated that his community was living peacefully with the Fulani herdsmen until the recent incident following the alleged invasion of the area by another set of herdsmen. It was gathered that elders and youths of Ifitogwari had made repeated efforts to draw the state government attention to the tension in the area before now, but repeatedly told to find ways of living peacefully with their visitors. A community member insisted it was wrong to claim that they mobilized against the Fulani herdsmen, stressing that the continued detention of the community leaders in the guise of investigating the alleged killing of cows and 3 persons was unfair, and killing of 2 persons was unfair. If anybody ever died as claimed by Miyetti Allah, it could be as a result of a private clash between an infuriated farmer and herdsmen, and the community was not involved in it, he said. It was further learned that while the representatives of the Miyetti Allah were demanding 38 million compensation for the killed cows, some community members are demanding 18 million for destroyed farmland and another 18 million for rehabilitation of families whose daughters and mothers had been senselessly raped by the Fulani herders since the state allegedly failed to protect the community after repeated alarms. These demands are being made on the government. Community members are also demanding the release of their leaders from police custody. While the state was battling to contain the development, another report emanated few weeks ago that 4 Fulani boys were sighted hanging AK-47 rifles on their shoulders at Umawulu community in Okasa local government area of the state. The villagers were said to have trailed the 4 boys who were riding 2 motorcycles to Isharu community, also in Oka South Council where they reside. The news of the development was said to have spread, leading to stakeholders in the community convening a crucial meeting with the police and Fulani leaders in the state, where the matter was raised for deliberation. But rather than explain the circumstances warranting the possession of AK-47 rifle or apologize on behalf of their boys, the Fulani leader allegedly told the stakeholders to do their worst. They say their boys must always bear arms to protect themselves against religious, ethnic, and tribal attacks from any quarter. The report was quoted as saying, "It was reported that the incident occurred in the presence of the officials of the State Investigation and Intelligence Bureau, OCA, and to the charging of stakeholders who called the meeting. The tension was said to have begun to build up when many demand to know what embodying the alleged action of the leaders. It was alleged that efforts were made to suppress the issue and ensure that it was not discussed anywhere in view of its implication. Entered Ohanaeze Ndigbo. The alleged silence on the part of the state government over the said incident had elicited worries from residents. Question was asked as to why actions were not taken by security officials in the state to arrest the alleged suspect in view of prevailing laws against bearing illegal firearms in the country. Posers were also raised on why the state government did not order the arrest of the so-called Fulani boys wielding assault weapons openly. Was it true that the Fulani leaders actually walked out of the peace meeting and dared the stakeholders to do their worst? Apparently, to those the increased tension and the police in the state have reacted, saying the incident never occurred. The state police public relations officer, SP Haruna Mohammed, pointed out that the said report, which stated neither the date, names of the so-called stakeholders, nor where it took place, was absolutely false and unfounded. It is probably illustrated by mischief makers who are bent on causing tension and panic in the state. However, the command will appreciate if any individual or group will come forward and provide the police with sufficient evidence that indeed villagers were said to have trailed the four boys on two motorcycles carrying six AK-47 rifle and headed to a share with the community in Oka South, where the Fulani allegedly reside, as claimed, has enabled the command to investigate the allegation discreetly. But the explanation of the police may not have seemed convincing enough to the Apex Igbo Socio-Cultural Organization Ohanaeze Ndigbo, as on Tuesday it scaled up the development in an open letter to the Inspector General of Police, where it described the incident as an affront on the people of the zone and accused police of complicity in the entire saga. The President General of Ohanaeze Ndigbo, Chief Nwodo, in a letter to be titled The Road to Anarchy, had insisted that the matter had not been given due attention following the attitude of the police and wondered why it would not swing into action to bring to book those allegedly behind it. He said, the Inspector General of Police, Ohanaeze Ndigbo, is alarmed by this wanton act because of the danger it portends. This raised the following question: is the bearing of unlicensed firearms, especially sophisticated ones like AK-47, no longer illegal and therefore punishable in breach of the laws of this country? Do we now have different laws for different ethnic groups in Nigeria? If it were the IPOB boy members or any other group other than Fulani that bear such illegal arms, what fate would befall them? Does the impetuous action and utterances of the Fulani leaders not a clear and indefinite invitation to anarchy? If everybody in this country, irrespective of tribe, carries such firearms to protect themselves, will the security agency be able to contain the mayhem that this will ensue? Can the IG imagine the fate that will have befallen any Igbo leader in any part of the north who dare to challenge their hosts and the police with such impunity and callousness? The principle of self-defense is even enshrined in the country's statute. Peaceful coexistence is a prerequisite for development. The police are by statute empowered, equipped, and expected to make peace between two warring factions and not to take side or protect one group. The action of the police in Anambra State is, to say the least, despicable and a tacit invitation to anarchy. Except for a coward, nobody will ever run away from his fatherland and leave it for another to occupy. Ndigbo is not a coward. Those are the words of the leader of Ohanaeze Ndigbo. And the reaction and they are concerned that what is happening in Anambra State could snowball into major crisis that could affect the entire Southeast if not well handled. Is the state government ready to pay compensation for the alleged cows that were killed? How about those whose cultivated farmlands have been destroyed? Would they equally be compensated? Residents insisted that the porous security nature of the Southeast zone was responsible for this. They believe that the Southeast Governors Forum, which has almost become complacent on issues affecting Ndigbo, should rise up to the challenge and begin to rethink the security of the zone. At a security meeting with the Inspector General of Police and leaders of the zone in Enugu State last month, the Southeast governors had dumped the idea of regional security network, which they started planning since last year to embrace the police model of the community policing. Their sudden U-turn had not gone down well, with residents who believe that they have become slaves in the hands of the country leadership. Only a few days ago, some travelers were abducted by unknown gunmen suspected to be Fulani herdsmen in Issaquah local government area of Abia State. A source says some strange-looking men were sighted in the bush around Onuaku area of the council and were confronted by locals. They were said to have left the vicinity and moved towards the gully after the Abia State University on the road toward Issaquah town, where they later waylaid travelers around the gully erosion site by the road. The governor stand against regional security network. These are really big and heavy implication if they are not well checked. It's not the matter of denying or not denying. The police should do their job which is the protection of life and properties. And just as he said, you don't expect the people not to react when they know that if they go to the police, they have no justice. And people are not trying to take laws into their hands, which is not a good thing and which we never pray for. I pray that the men of the Nigeria Security Force will come out with a solution to this Fulani herdsmen saga to avert clashes between the natives, farmers, and the Fulani herdsmen. Thank you, and stay awake and blessed with our Wakes Network. Wait, what time is it?